So, I hear you're thinking about moving to Indiana. Coming from a born and raised Hoosier, you're making the right decision. Now, obviously, I'm biased because I was born and raised here and I've lived here for so long, but I've also lived in states like Colorado and California, and ultimately, I came back here. But I don't want to paint an entirely pretty picture. I want this to be honest. So I've compiled a list of some of my favorite and least favorite things about living here. So if you want to hear 15 things to consider about moving to Indiana, keep watching. We're going to start off on a positive note. The first amazing thing about Indiana is its location. When you live in Indiana, you are less than 6 or 5 hours away from places like Chicago, Cincinnati, Louisville, Nashville, Tennessee, St. Louis, and Michigan. Being so logistically close to those major places makes it easy to get out without the cost of living there. We also have an amazing international airport, and more specifically, we have beautiful neighborhoods with historic homes. Location doesn't really get better. Now, let's be realistic. My first con is that the public transportation is lacking, and with that, everything here is spread out. So it makes getting to places somewhat difficult depending on where you live. There's also construction all the time, and I never even know why, and be prepared for a million potholes. Now for a pro, affordability. Pretty much on any YouTube video you're gonna watch about moving to Indiana, this is gonna be talked about. Cost of living here is great. We're not the highest, we're not the lowest. The median home price right now in 2024 is about $250,000. We also have good prices on gas, groceries, taxes, and there's plenty of jobs. I mean, there would be more if we were almost in a recession, but normally, there's plenty of jobs. For the next con, this might be important to parents. Our public schools here are not the best. Now, we have great colleges, but if you can't afford private school, depending on where you live, some of our public education is seen as lacking. The next pro I love to talk about. I truly feel like Indianapolis is up and coming. What I mean by that is our population is increasing, but it's not to the point of a place like Nashville, Tennessee. I also see that diversity is on the rise, which is great. There's lots of young people here, which might be surprising, and we have exciting developmental projects. With more people comes more resources, more fun things to do. Indianapolis isn't an overhyped place, so there's room to enjoy those things. My third con is probably somewhat obvious as I sit here in a turtleneck, our weather. A great thing about the weather is that we do have 4 seasons, so you do get to experience every single season. So summer temperatures can easily reach the 90s / even 100s, and the winters, like just a couple days ago, can get in the negatives. Something I don't like about that is that I'm constantly out of closet space because my wardrobe has to be humongous. The next pro I am very passionate about. While we may not have Michelin star restaurants yet, we have a great food scene. You just have to look for it. A few honorable mentions off the top of my head, although I'm sure there's so many in my brain. King Dough, any of the Cunningham restaurants, Mama Carolla's, Milktooth, the Cake Bake Shop, of course. We have tons of breweries and dozens of high quality coffee shops, which I know is very important. My next con is that we are landlocked. This is quite obvious being in the Midwest. On days like these, in the deepest, darkest winter, you really crave the ocean, and the closest bodies of water are going to be lakes, rivers, and the Great Lakes up in Illinois and Michigan. We also have no mountains, but we do have lots of greenery and trees. My next pro is really probably the most important. I believe Indiana has some of the nicest people ever. We pretty much have like that southern hospitality thing, but it's a little bit more down to earth and relatable. I can't really describe it, but you'll know what I talk about once you're here. People are just so kind for the most part. Obviously, that's not always true. But when I visited the Pacific Northwest, I was so shocked by how cold people were, and it really made me appreciate where I came from. The next con I'm going to mention is the bugs and the geese. Tons of bugs in the summer, tons of geese. Need I say more? The next pro I'm going to talk about is sports. Now, I'm not the biggest sports fan, but we have plenty to choose from if I want to go see a game. We have the Pacers, Colts, IU, Notre Dame, Victory Field for baseball. You can go see hockey, obviously the Indy 500, and you're also close to all these other cities that have big sports teams as well. Next con, I'll keep it brief. A certain herb is not legal here. Hopefully that will change in the future, and I don't even really consume it, but that might be a big deal to some people. A lot of people have old-fashioned beliefs here, which is not my favorite thing. My second to last pro is that there are so many fun things to do. You just have to really dig in. A few things I want to mention are we have the world's #1 children's museum. We have a great state museum, art museum, concerts, conventions, the Bottleworks District, a huge rock climbing gym downtown, Conner Prairie, the zoo. We're getting a brand new soccer stadium that's going to be huge, state parks, great hiking, fishing, camping, the state fair, tons of pumpkin patches, the Covered Bridge Festival, so many more things. The last con that I briefly want to mention is our crime and murder. Indiana does rank somewhat high compared to other states on their crime rate. That being said, it really depends where you live. I have never felt unsafe, and a lot of that is probably because I'm privileged. Hopefully that will improve in the future. And to end on a good note, I want to talk about my last pro, which is Indiana has cool history. A lot of famous and iconic people have been born here and are from here. Also, just Indiana's role in different parts of history is fascinating and somewhat not well known. A fun fact is author John Green lives here, so I'm always hoping I'm going to run into him. Also, Kat Von D just moved here, which is so random. I have a lot more floating in my brain, but to keep this video concise, that's where I'm gonna end it. Obviously, the pros outweigh the cons in my humble opinion. That is why I live here. I bought a house here and I'm a realtor here. So if you are moving here, I would love if you emailed me, jade@deboergroup.com. Tell me your name, where you're from, and when you're looking to move. But yeah, I would love to help you find a home. I would love to set up a phone call with you. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Make sure to follow me on Instagram. I do post home tours over there, as well as fun things to do in Indy. And if you are from Indiana, please comment and tell me what you love most and what I didn't mention in this video. I want to just say thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!